What is Crossout? Honestly, I'm pretty sure a number of my viewers probably have no idea what this game is at all. Essentially, it's a post-apocalyptic MMO game that reminds me of Mad Max in many ways. It was created by Targem Games under Gajin Entertainment, responsible for games like War of Thunder, Enlisted, Star Conflict, Crossout, and of course, who can forget the gaming masterpiece CRSEDFOAD, the game. Crossout is one of those games that is in many ways a hidden gem and in many ways fake jewelry. It's like a rotten apple, a whole half of it is good and a whole half of it is bad. But let's dig into the good parts before the bad parts. First off, gameplay wise, this game is extremely innovative, and I'm not being sarcastic here, but probably one of the best I've played in a while. The game's main selling point was the ability for you to build vehicles from the frame right up to the final piece, and honestly, they weren't joking. The building mechanic is very well thought out and in depth, allowing you to really dig deep into how you want your vehicle to look and what function you want it to actually serve, whether that being an art build with pretty much no combat power, a meta build made for dominating games, or something that's totally out of the ordinary. It's possible in Crossout. And not just that, the game doesn't limit you from how you want. Huh? Oh, right. See, yeah, there's a parts limit which technically means you are limited, but still, this helps make it balanced. And not just that, there's another really cool factor that plays into the building mechanic, which is the sheer variety you get. Like, there are so many weapons, cabins, and modules that really define how you want your build to be like. Want a build that does well in hit and run tactics? Make a shotgun build and obliterate players at close range. Not too fond of close quarters combat? Sure, autocannons, turret cannons, and cannons all do insane damage at range. Want to kick back and let the game play for you? Automated drones and turrets are there for your lazy needs. Honestly, the amount of weapons that this game has is really surprising, and all the guns are unique in their own way, even offering perks to really capitalize on the weapon's playstyle and form. And stuff like cabins, movement paths, and modules also have unique ways that they can be used to give you the edge, resulting in really good builds. There's even an exhibition in game where you can show off your creativity to other players, which even makes it more worthwhile. And not just that, other aspects of the game are really good as well. The HUD doesn't clutter the screen and lets you see what's actually going on. The maps are well made, look really good, and give you different approaches to fighting the enemy. And the game runs pretty well. And the whole gimmick of different factions that give you access to more weapons as you earn reputation with them is really interesting and gives players a reason to keep playing the game in order to get new weapons to craft. Honestly, with all these good stuff, you might be saying, "Red Dynamite, how is the game a rotten apple? It's clearly good in every way." Well, I've not even gotten to the bad parts yet, and oh boy, does this game have its big share of problems. First off, one of the main problems new players will probably encounter is its tutorial. You know, the thing that's meant to give you a basic understanding of how the game works and show you the ropes. Crossout does this tutorial, to an extent, and not the best one at that. The tutorial lacks a lot of basic things players need to know about the game, such as how to use the building functions, why you shouldn't mix different weapons for better synergy, and how various cabins work in certain situations. The tutorial basically just tells you, hey, there's this car, go shoot someone with it. Now go capture the base. Wow, you're so amazing, you're done with the tutorial. I'm not saying a tutorial should be over 7 hours explaining how this and that works. I'm saying that the tutorial should at least give new players a good grounding with the game, since the building mechanics and the game itself is so vast, so that they don't really feel overwhelmed and don't make the wrong combination of equipment when building cars for battles. And yes, I do know Crossout guides exist, but the tutorial is really an essential part. And this leads to the next problem, which is the team matches. Now, matches in games, when pulled off well, can be a really fun and satisfying experience, and it feels great when you're on a balanced team with people who are experienced at the game and you cooperate with them to win against the other team. Crossout is like that 20% of the time. The other 80% is full of players whose builds don't even synergize with anything they have at all, and genuinely don't care much about their teammates and always try to get kills with their builds. And when they fail, they are always like, "It's not my fault, my team is bad, I'm the best." And even when their builds are good, they don't cooperate with the team at all and always try to look out for themselves and go like lone wolf anime style, oh my god, rather than others. This always usually leads to a big time failure for the team because, well, no one has anyone's backs, everyone's just doing their own thing. And this is how matches are almost every single time. But there are players who do genuinely care much about their teammates and try to support them for the win. Like, look at this, at the start of this match, I'm attacked from the rear and instantly lose one of my tank tracks. At this point, I am toast, but the Chad Dimada Beste comes out like a hero from the ashes and one-shots this guy back to the menu room. This is an example of how teams should be like, looking out for one another and having each other's backs when they're in trouble. Even with the short match time of around, 5 to 6 minutes, it's always worth it, as these kinds of teammates who are coordinated will mostly always win. And it always feels great when it actually pays off and you get that fat MVP. And look, I know matches in video games are not always balanced, but for Crossout, it's always consistently unbalanced, with unbalanced teams rather than well-balanced teams. And on the subject of balancing, let's talk about balancing in general, because sometimes it's just not good. Not every single weapon in the game is balanced, with some weapons being not as powerful as the rest in terms of DPS and reliability and other factors. The devs often try to fix this by nerfing or buffing the overpowered or underpowered weapon, but this usually leads to players dropping that weapon entirely because, well, the nerf is so bad. Or the prices of another buffed weapon going up insanely because, oh, it's so good, it's overpowered, and the cycle continues. And matches in lower power score brackets feel so unfair because most of the times people use this stuff like melee trucks and high powered guns to beat newer players, and it isn't fair or fun in the receiving end. And have we even talked about the lore, because wow, the devs really missed their marks on this one. Apparently there's a mode where you can play story mode that makes you find who you are and whatnot and go on an adventure through the valley of Crossout or whatever, but its whole story feels like it was made by some kid on Wattpad because it is so boring. There's practically no connection with you or the characters, the cutscenes are underwhelming, there's no fast travel, so you have to spend so much time driving to your destination. The reward you get after each story is awful, and when you get to the end of the story, it feels like you've barely done anything to contribute to the state of Crossout or wherever you are. The lore in general is widely underutilized because I feel if the devs actually cared about the story, it would have been miles better and actually made you feel connected to the game's world and show you how your actions had an effect on the world, either good or bad, and made you actually connect with the characters of the game's world. But nah, I'm getting too ahead of myself. This is a game that's under Gaijin, and we all know one thing that Gaijin loves, and that's microtransactions. Woo! If you told me that a deluxe pack containing a gun, a cabin, a couple of wheels, a profile picture, a couple of thousands of coins, and some other stuff costs $64, I wouldn't believe you. But of course, there is a pack that does exactly that. What? Like, $64 can buy me many AAA games. It can like buy me 2 Minecrafts. It can probably buy me a pretty long Netflix subscription. And looking through the store, packs cost around $9 to $30 to $60 to almost $108. Honestly, I can't even call these things microtransactions anymore. These prices are pretty high. But then again, I can't really blame them because this game is totally free. Still though, finding the bridge between good progression and microtransactions is hard. And honestly, the grind for materials gets really monotonous and boring. All in all, the game itself is genuinely a fun experience, and despite all the problems it has, it's really fun to play and I do recommend you try it out. I really just wish that the devs would stop trying to make cash grabs or whatnot and actually see that they have a really good thing that's going for them, and actually try to rectify most of the issues that Crossout has to make it better and more polished, and actually make it something that's genuinely fun and is always fun to come back to. But alas, we can only see how this game goes with time. Anyways, that's the end of this overview. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and I like making this kind of videos on different games. Really exposes me to more of the interesting and fun stuff. Well, this is Red Dynamite blowing off, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.